Well, good morning. Welcome to Friday morning yoga practice on this chilly morning. Hopefully you're warm wherever you are. Always remember in this practice or any practice, really anything that you do, that you should listen to your body. It's very important, and often we don't. And sometimes it's not that we're not wanting to listen to our body, but just that we're not paying attention. And so that's very important to do so. Pay attention to your body, because your body will let you know when something isn't right. So we come to this spot, and we come with the intention to try to be in the present moment. So leave behind where you've come from and the things that you have to do today. They'll still all be there. You can still travel back to them if you choose in a little while. But for the next hour, at least, practice being in the present moment. So allow your body just to settle. Notice the spot that you're in, the space that you have occupied. Notice how that space molds you perfectly, even the air around your arms, your head. You fit into this space beautifully. Draw attention to your breath. Notice how it knows what to do, even without you orchestrating it. It just allows itself to flow in and out, not just to you, but through you. So learn like the breath, allowing it to come in and come out. Learn to do that with your thoughts and your emotions through meditation. You allow thoughts to come in and continue to flow out. You allow emotions to come, be felt, and continue on. And this constant flow keeps us from becoming stuck and static. You go with the flow, if you will. Take the next few moments just to enjoy the present moment. Take a deep cleansing breath in and visualize the things that you want to come into the body, to have into your life. Visualize them just coming in one by one, filling the body, completing every void, healing every injury, satisfying every need, and then let go. Recognizing balance. The inhale, the exhale, the receiving, the giving, the taking in, the releasing. We all need that balance. Take the next deep breath in and allow the face this time to climb skyward. And notice the weight of the head as it drops back in between the shoulders. Face with gravity begins to release all expression. No tightness, no lines, no clenching, just relaxation in the area of the face. Notice the opening of the throat and neck as the head drops back. The anterior portion of the throat stretches. Breathe. Take another deep breath in, and as you breathe out, now allow the chin to float down to the chest. Feel the stretch now down the posterior portion of the neck, keeping the body long and tall. The bend is through the neck. The chin pulls closer and closer to the chest. Begin to allow the chin to move across the chest, that half moon sway. If you're able and it feels good, you can come full circle here, one way several times, and the other. Bring the chin up to the left of the room, up, forward, and then pull it down into the right collarbone. Allow this movement to just flow, left, upper to right collarbone, back and forth, feeling that stretch in the left side of the neck. Same thing on the opposite side now, right upper side of the room to the left collarbone. Such a simple movement, but feel how wonderful it feels to the neck, to stretch, to lengthen. Now come center as if saying yes, up and down. Bring the chin to neutral, come to the side now as if saying no, back and forth. Wonderful. Bring the arms back behind you, perch the fingertips on the mat, lift through the heart here. Notice how we are really stretching here through the upper body, but notice how the lower body starts to respond. Maybe the knees start to creep up into your posture. Remind them to relax. So there are so many practices within our yoga practice. And one of them is to learn that when we're enduring stress, even if it's a good stress, like you're stressing the shoulders just a bit here and the chest to really open up and stretch, and it's a good stress, but the rest of the body is trying to come up in to that posture, and you don't need that. So we realize that when we maybe endure stress in our life, we don't need to hold a position that's tight in a certain area. So in other words, your face, when you're enduring stress, you can try your best to relax through that expression, breathe in and out slowly. Or maybe when you're stressed and you're working on a deadline and you notice your shoulders lifted to your ears, relax them down. So again, we learn not to hold stress just because we're enduring or living, experiencing stress. Wonderful. Now we're going to take the left leg out to the side here. You just point that left knee over to the left. And then we're going to twist gently and drop the chest over that right upper thigh. Now again, as with anything in this practice, if something doesn't feel good, modify. So if this doesn't feel good for your back or your leg, then adjust. Modify to what feels good to you. This is not a perfect practice. It's just a practice that hopes to find a perfect position for your body so that you can get a good stretch, so that you can strengthen. Now, if you're able, try to come on up here without pushing, launching from the hands, and come back down. Again, coming up, pressing through here, and coming back down. Just a wonderful functional movement here, things that we don't think about practicing, but this is good to really use these muscles we don't necessarily use. And we're learning not to have to utilize the hands to launch off, just to come up here and back. Wonderful. pull that leg back. Now it's the opposite side, so I pull this right leg back. And I twist gently over to the opposite side, drop the chest down. Again, modify as needed. Feeling this in the up in the hip and the outer thigh. So good there. Really stretch that. Again, if you're able, pick up your hands, try to come up, back down, coming up, down, up, down. Last time, up and down. Wonderful. Bringing those legs together. Give them a hug here as we wrap our arms around the knees and lengthen through the back here. Maybe stretching through the neck just a bit more if you feel the need to do that. Wonderful. Extend one leg out from you and the other. And then drop the chest now down to the upper thigh. We think of chest to thigh instead of nose to knee here in our Paschimottanasana, forward fold. And I want you to try to press the chest down and lift gently through the upper portion of the chest. So bring your gaze up just a bit. Feel the lower back muscles all the way up into the back. Get a good stretch here. The core is tight. Maybe you have a slight bend in the knee. Maybe that feels better. Maybe you don't. Maybe it feels better to have your legs stretched. Paschimottanasana. When we're standing and we drop the head down beneath our heart and we forward fold, we call it Uttanasana. But when we're sitting and we forward fold, it's Paschimottanasana. Forward fold. Okay. So we come on up and we come to our tabletop position. I always like to come into tabletop early just to assess how your hands and wrists feel today. So often you can feel really good one day in an area and maybe even perform a posture or an asana and not have any issue. And then the next day we do. We haven't really done anything really, but we just notice that maybe it doesn't feel so good. So I like to assess things, especially my hands and wrists, before I put a lot of weight into it. So here in our tabletop, we're rocking back and forth to kind of work with the hips here. Core is nice and tight. Weight is in our hands and we see how it feels. And if it doesn't feel good to our hands or wrists, we can always modify with our fist or we can come to our forearms. Weight bearing is excellent. We know that now. We know it's wonderful to help bones become more dense and stronger. But if it doesn't feel good, it's not beneficial. So just always remember that. It's not feeling good for you and your body's telling you there's a reason not to do it. And then come back into your child's pose. We ease back here with the sit bones press into the heels. We walk the fingers out as far as we can to get a good stretch. The back lengthens. Remember, you can come here anytime you need to. Balasana is your solace. This is your place to come if you feel like you've been pushed too far or you need a rest. Child's pose. From your child's pose is the perfect place to come up into your downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. So we come up, curl the toes under, push into the balls of the feet, lift the hips up, press the heels down, drop the head in between the biceps. We found ourselves in an upside down V. We feel the core tighten. And we're pressing the heels towards the mat and the floor, but if they don't make it there, that's okay. Our hands are shoulder width apart and we're pushing into the hands just like we're trying to rip away the top of the mat. Downward facing dog. Such a great posture to really lengthen through the legs, the back. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Flow forward here to a plank. You can be in a full plank here with me, or you can set your knees down and crisscross through your ankles in your half plank. You choose. Should we move into a full side plank? It's just to rotate to one side, but we always make sure we stack one joint on top of the other. If that's too much, you can always set one knee down and be here or here in your side plank. Same thing on the opposite side. We just rotate. And we can be in full side plank or half. Set that right knee down so you need to. And back and then up into our downward facing dog. Wonderful. If we flow forward into a plank and drop the legs to the mat, slowly lifting through the heart, the more the upper leg surrenders and tries to marry the mat, the more the back is going to contract. So this is very much a back strengthener. It's wonderful for the back if it feels good. If it doesn't, modify. You can bend through your elbows and take off some weight, lift the upper leg up, release that contraction in the back. So modify as needed. This is your king cobra. When we're here, you can always challenge in your up dog, lifting your legs off the mat and balancing on the top of your feet. Curl through your toes, drive back to your down dog. Go ahead and walk your feet up to your hands. Forward fold, Uttanasana. So just like when we were on the floor in our Paschimottanasana, upward, we're upright, and we drop the head down into our forward fold. We call this Uttanasana. Anytime you hear the word Ardha, that means half. So if I lift my hands up to my shins here, it would be half forward fold. So Ardha Uttanasana. Wonderful. And we can practice our standing split by standing on one leg and driving the opposite leg up. Doesn't matter how far or how little it comes up, just bring it up to where it feels good and you can get a great stretch in that leg you're on. Again, we're making chest to thigh, not nose to knee. We're just lifting that opposite leg skyward. You can do a little core work here, a nice tap of the toe onto the mat and then lifting back up. And challenge this even more by flexing through the foot and bringing that foot towards the next one and lifting up. Notice how that core tightens when you come down, especially if you don't put weight into that foot. You're just hovering it over the mat. Feel that great stretch in the hamstring of the leg that you're on. Wonderful. Standing split. Release that leg down. If you need to, you can come up to your Ardha Uttanasana. And back down. Forward fold. The opposite leg now. We lift through the left leg now, stretching, lengthening, gaining flexibility, increasing that stance from one leg to the other. If you choose, gently tapping that leg down and lifting it up. Again, down. Feel that core contract as you lower that leg down, but not set weight onto it if you can. If you need to set weight onto it or push the toe into the mat, you can do that. Again, modify to what you need. Listen to your body. Wonderful. Standing split. And then lower. A slow reverse swan dive brings me up. I keep my heels, weight in my heels. I drive the crown of the head forward and I come on up. Full body stretch. Reaching, not leaning, but reaching to the right here. And to the left. And skyward. Hands marry at heart center, and I drop them down to my side. And I purposefully turn my hands so that my palms face forward. And I notice that swirling, hovering above the hands. It's energy, vibration, frequency that we are made of. It connects with others, not just other people, but other things. So we are very much influenced by the energy, the frequency, the vibration of other people and other things. And we need to recognize how we are accepting it and what we are offering. This is vital to our existence. It is said that when our frequency lowers, our vibrational frequency lowers to below 62 megahertz, that's when we become ill. So we need to do things to bring that frequency vibration up, like yoga practice, or eating healthy, or listening to good things, or positive thinking, or being around positive people. Anything to bring that frequency up. Let's move into a flow, connecting the breath with the posture. Inhale the arms up. Exhale them down, forward fold. Inhale your hands to your shins, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale them back down, forward fold. Inhale the left foot and the right back, downward facing dog. Exhale, flow forward to a plank, downward fold. Inhale, lift, eating cobra. Exhale, come back to your plank. Inhaling, lift, down dog. Exhale and step forward, forward fold. Inhale a slow reverse swan dive. Exhale your hands, heart center. And then release to Tadasana, mountain pose. Now, you've heard me say this quite a bit. There are many practices within this practice. So in other words, there are many things within our yoga practice that we should, and if you practice enough, you will take out into your life. One of those is to stop frequently during your day. Just stop. Be still. Recognize your breath. Live in the present moment. So we stop and we draw away from what we're doing. We push aside what we've yet to do. We're right here, right now, noticing how we are. What are our thoughts? What are our emotions? What are we feeling? What are we keeping ourselves feeling? What is that energy that we are sending out and taking in? We do all of this by listening to understand, not necessarily to respond or to analyze, but just to understand what is going on within us, right around us. So we have the feet about hip width apart. And we begin to bend through knees and press the sit bones down, just as if we were going to sit into a chair. We stop, just like we do when we sit down, although we usually have a base that we sit into, and then we can kind of relax and release. We're training here with our squat to hover, if you will, as if there were a chair there and we're just not meeting the base. And you can practice over a chair or a stool. But we just come to a certain spot and we hold an isometric hold. We know now that this is wonderful for blood pressure. It's great for muscles. It's wonderful for connective tissue and fascia, which we all have throughout the body. And it's very important. So we hold here for a moment, and then we bring one arm up, one arm down. We move into a slight twist, maybe a big twist, depending on what feels good to you. Try to keep the weight in your heels. Press the sit bones back down. And then bring that upward arm back behind you, one down up in front of you. Now the opposite. Bring one arm up, one arm down. Carry this through, so as if you're making a circle. So twist now to the opposite side, down, and drop. And all the while holding that wonderful squat, strengthening the muscles of the leg. Wonderful. Let's do this on the opposite side. So now we're dropping the right arm down, lifting the left arm up, coming to a twist. Then we lift the arms up. Then the opposite. Raise one arm. Coming the full circle. And back down opposite. Wonderful. Come back to the center. Take your left leg behind your right. Drop that left knee down. The more you're dropping the left knee down, the more challenging. You can always lengthen through the leg if that's better, getting a great stretch in the hamstring. So it's whatever you feel you need today. Release the hands down, and if you're able, come down with them and come back up. Now do this, come down further by bending through the knee, not by leaning forward so much. So try to keep the heart lifted and just come straight down. If you can't touch the mat, no worries. We're just trying to challenge legs, core tightens because we're taking weight off that back leg. Down. Up. Once more. Maybe even noticing your heart rate come up because we become more dynamic. And to the center. Whoa, should be noticing the quads now. I know I am. Right leg behind the left. Again, we can keep it long. Or we can bend to the knee, drop down. You can stay here. You don't have to become dynamic or go through that movement. But if you choose, drop the arms down, come down, and come up. Again, I'm coming down by dropping my knee down, not so much by dropping the upper body down. So drive with the back leg. Drop, come down, feel that top quad, that left quad. Come down, up, more, come down, and up, come back to the center. Wonderful. We've been trying to practice quite a bit now, coming down as close as we can to the floor. Maybe it's a low squat, maybe it's a seated squat. Keeping the crown of the head skyward, trying not to launch from our hands, but instead to push from the feet, come up. Again, another functional movement that we want to continue to do as we age, to be able to come to the floor, pick something up, and come back up. Bring back down. Coming back up. Seems so simple, but as we age, it becomes very complex. Hands to heart center, and we release them to our side. Once again, we take time to practice being in the present moment. So stand in Tadasana, mountain pose. Turn the palms to the front. Release any tension in your head, neck, face, shoulders. Notice the weight of the body into the feet connected to the mat, to the floor, to the earth. Notice the weight of your arms and hands dangling at your side. Notice how you balance your head over your shoulders. Move into a sun salutation to greet this beautiful sun as it gets ready to come to rise and come up today. We bring the arms skyward and we swan dive them down. Forward fold, Uttanasana. Bring your hands to your shins. Ardha Uttanasana, half forward fold. Press them back in. Take the left knee and pull it up into the chest and extend it back behind you as we lower it down slowly. We find our lunge. We spin through the back foot so the toes turn out to the long side of the mat. And if you're able, pick your hands up before you push from your front foot come up. That way you don't launch, you don't use momentum, but instead you use muscle. So once we get into our warrior two, then we assess. Knee, swinging out to the pinky more than leaning into the big toe. Arms are extended. We're reaching out through fingers. We're not straining through shoulders. We don't bring the arms higher than the shoulders. We just let them flow out as an extension from the shoulders. And that back foot, we want to press the whole foot down instead of leaning in, which is the tendency to the arch. So we find Virabhadrasana 2, warrior 2. Very strong, stable, courageous posture. The warrior posture. So again, a practice within the practice. Because as we move through our day, especially when we're holding a position, we should stop and analyze. Okay, am I holding something tense I don't need to? Am I in good form? Am I straining something as I'm holding this? And if you are, you need to modify. Reverse your palm, reverse your warrior. So we lift one arm, drop one arm. And if you choose, you can always bring the back arm around, wrap the front arm around to hug the body. Just coming a little more into this pose. Whatever feels best for your body. Holding good tension in that front leg, still putting weight into that front foot. Feel that good tension, that strengthening, building in the quad. Still have weight in the back foot, pushing through the outside ridge of the foot. And then I bring the arms back as they were into warrior two. And I lengthen through my leg. And then I release the upper body to surrender down to the lower body. And I find myself in Trikonasana, triangle. A wonderful stretch through the inner thigh, your adductor. You can rest your arm on your leg. You can put a little weight into it, which is very helpful if this is too challenging. But if you're able, dangle that arm with no weight, really making your core work. Sure that you don't have a strained expression on your face and that your head and neck are relaxed. Triangle pose, Trikonasana. Slowly lift back up to your warrior two. And then bring your arms skyward and gently twist to the front, coming right into warrior one. And as you gently twisted, you should have felt that back leg when you turned from the front to the side, I should say, the left side to the front. You feel that hip flexor lengthen and stretch. So your warrior one pose, a great stretch of that hip flexor, that psoas muscle. So this is a great transition after you've been sitting for long periods of time in the movie theater, at home, on the couch, at your desk, in a meeting. You should not sit for long periods of time. But when you do, come to your warrior two, lift your arms up, rotate to your warrior one. Your psoas and hip flexor will be loving, because when that sits too long, it contracts. So as you come into this transition from warrior two to warrior one, you help that to lengthen and stretch. Then we practice agility. We lift up the heel in the back and we turn the foot. So now we're a high lunge. Then we slowly ease down, working against body weight, building strength. Bring that right foot to marry the left downward facing dog. Flow forward to your plank cat. If you choose to practice your chaturanga, you're going to roll on the toes so that your shoulders come just past your hands and your elbows would be above your wrists as you draw the elbows in and slowly come down. Chaturanga, lift up, king cobra, and back up, down dog. Remember in our sun salutation, the leg we started with is the leg we end with. So we raise that left leg up, pull the left knee in, we step the left leg forward. And then we spin the back toes. So just as we did before, we'll do everything on this side. But remember, you know where we're going. Try not to rush out into it. Enjoy each part. So we spin the toes in the back out to the long side of the mat. We turn our gaze to the short side. We lift up the hands and we push from the foot. We evolve into our warrior two. Virabhadrasana two. So again, another practice within the practice. So you know where we're going. We're going to do everything that we did on the opposite side on this side. But again, don't rush through that. How often during your day do you know something at the end of the day that you have to do and you're playing it, you're replaying it over and over in your mind, how it's going to happen, what you're going to say. When you're doing that, you're living so much in the future that you're not living in the present. It's a lot of wasted energy. Revolve your palm, revolve your warrior. So you reverse. We can stay here, lengthen one arm, release down in the other. We can wrap the arms around, coming to more of a twist. Whatever feels good for you. Remember the back foot and the direction of your foot can determine how your knee feels. So if your knee feels a little torqued or just uncomfortable, turn that direction of the foot. All right, come back around. Then we lengthen through the leg and we slowly ease downward into our triangle. Remember, you can always put weight into the shin and rest your hand on it. If you dangle and try not to put much weight into your left arm down there close to the floor, and your core is going to really work overtime. Release tension in your face, head, and neck. Trikonasana, a very wonderful posture, very free. Very much a strength builder. Notice your balance. You need balance to stay here. Notice your stability as well, how you can hold the posture. And maybe you need to modify this. Do whatever you need to do. You're going to slowly ease back up, warrior two. And then that wonderful transition from warrior two to warrior one, raising the arms, rotating to the left. You do that, you feel that hip flexor stretch. Maybe you felt that right gluteus tighten. Now you're in your warrior one. Lift up the heel and turn the foot, practicing agility, transitioning, and slowly come down to our lunge. Step forward, right foot to left. Forward fold, a slow reverse swan dive, brings me up. My hands marry at heart center. Then they release to my side. Once again, I practice being still, being aware, being mindful, being in the present moment. Another sun salutation. Bring the arms skyward. Swan dive down, forward fold. Uttanasana. Pick up the right knee this time. Pull it into the chest. Extend it behind you. Slowly lower down. Go ahead and take that right leg all the way down to the mat. And then again, if you're able, pick up your hands and push from your foot, which can hopefully discourage you from launching off of your hands and using momentum. Now, even here, before I've moved into any part of the sequence, just lifting the body up with my leg behind me, I feel this wonderful stretch through the psoas, through that hip flexor. So another great posture after you've sat for long periods of time. And especially if I kind of push gently forward to lengthen it even more, I feel the weight come a little more into my left leg. Maybe I want to bring my arms behind me and interlace the fingers and open up the chest while I'm doing this. So multi-beneficial here. Maybe I want to bring my gaze skyward and challenge my balance. I want to raise the arms up. Notice how you feel that stretch even more in the hip flexor. Just raising the arms up, lengthening through the body, the torso, and down into that hip flexor. Release. The arms down, step back. Left foot to right, come up. So you're downward facing dog. Adho Mukha. Flow forward to a plank. Maybe you're here in a full plank. Maybe you set your knees down. Maybe you want to challenge in your plank. Bringing the knee to the elbows and back. Again, knee to elbows, back. Maybe once more, knee to elbows and back. Down dog. Remember, you can make a posture, an asana, for the whole sequence. More challenging or more simple. To the opposite side, flow to a plank. Maybe you're just holding, maybe you have your knees down, maybe you're challenging here, knee to elbows and back. Maybe you don't set that leg down and hover to work the core a little more. More, knee to elbows, back, and then you're down dog. Remember that leg you started with is the leg you end with. So right leg up, right knee pulls in, right foot steps forward. Settle the back leg down. So again, go ahead and pull your hands up. And if you need to, use them. But if you're able, pick them up, push on the foot. And again, as soon as you do that, notice. Notice when you transition from one posture to another, notice what's occurring. Start to be more and more aware of your body and how it works. So as you lift it up, you probably notice left gluteus tighten a bit. Notice the need to have weight into that front foot in order to balance. Notice that hip flexor getting a good stretch. Then you transition again. Maybe your arms come behind you, interlace through fingers, open up through the chest. You notice your shoulder blades retracting, pulling towards one another, stretch across the chest. Even more knee down to push into that front foot to help balance. When you raise the arms, you notice a deeper stretch through the psoas. Maybe your gaze coming skyward, you notice increased need for balance. This vision plays a huge part of that. And ease back down. Stepping forward, left foot to right. 2 steps or 1, doesn't matter. Just come to the top of your mat. You slow reverse swan dive. Hands marry at heart center. And they release to your side. And now you're able to just really kind of assess and notice full body. You know, before, as we're moving through the sequences, maybe you were thinking about one side or the other. Now, you're just taking a good glance from the top of the head to feet. Maybe catch your breath, a phrase that we have utilized for many years. Really what it means is bring attention to your breath. You've moved away, so catch your breath. Usually when we bring attention to the breath and we're really noticing it going in and out, then we calm because we slow the breath down, and then the breath orchestrates the rest of the body. So that phrase, catch your breath, is usually when you're excited or you're upset, we say catch your breath. Take a moment to bring attention to it. And that will slow and calm the breath, which in turn Helps the rest of the body to come into play, to rest. Okay, balance. And we've done a lot of balance work. Yoga practice it does incorporate a lot of balance, but I like to bring a special segment to balance because balance is crucial, especially as we age. So lifting one foot, of course, we balance. And we think about this in the physical realm, but we don't recognize often that this is very much mental. Your mind feels very normal here on 2 feet because you do it most of the time. So when you change and you pick up something especially that you haven't done a lot, then the mind goes, wait a minute, and that's why you kind of do this for a moment. So the more we practice anything, the more it becomes a norm. Unfortunately, that could be even bad things. So the more we practice something like worry or an addiction, the more the mind finds that a normal realm. So if we can take time to practice the more positive, like not using those things that we become maybe addicted to, and that can be food, anything, exercise, anything we do too much. So again, the mind, whatever you do a lot, it's going to make that a norm. And when you don't do it, it's going to feel uncomfortable. So you have to keep practicing those wonderful norms, these wonderful activities, behaviors that bring up your vibrational frequency and that help your mind to feel normal. Go ahead and flow here, last but not least, into your warrior three. Bring your arms behind you or in front of you, whichever feels best for you. Slowly coming up, if you will, without setting the foot down till you come all the way up. It's a great strengthening of the legs. Same thing on the opposite side. So we lift up one leg. And again, the more we do this, the more the mind goes, oh, yeah, I've been here. This has been happening more. So this feels a little more normal than it used to. So then you can be able to do it even more, even better, even safer. So even moving through these here, then the mind goes, oh yeah, that's been happening a lot more lately, balancing and moving. So that's a norm now, so we're good. So again, this is much more than physical balance. It's mental, it's emotional, it's spiritual, it's energetically important as well. Balance. Needed in every portion of our life. Again, you're here in your warrior three, try to lift up if you're able without putting the leg down until you come all the way up. Wonderful. So much that we benefit from balance practice. As you probably noticed, just those few moments in that segment, that there were probably moments where you were so focused trying to balance that you totally forgot about everything, even in the same room, or especially later things you have to do. So it's very much a standing meditation because you're focused on what's going on right here and what you're doing. So I love balance work because it has many components. It helps build strength. Of course, it helps your balance, helps with flexibility if you're moving. But that mental side too, huge. So we come back to the top of our mat, we bring our arms skyward, we come on down. Whether it's setting one knee down and the other, or if it's coming to your seated spot, doesn't matter. And we can roll back to the mat. Or we can ease back, really using our core. Whichever way is best for you to find your upper body flat on the back, on the mat. And then we're going to raise both legs. This is an inversion. If you're not used to inversions, that's fine. You do not have to do them. This is a very mild inversion, but most people can practice this. It's just raising your legs up, pressing your lower back into the mat. But this is inverted because really we're just allowing the blood flow to travel from the lower portion of the body up to the head. And this has many benefits. This can help reduce inflammation. It helps with blood pressure. It can help with anxiety. Of course, it's wonderful for circulation. So this is very beneficial. Now you can stay right here. If you choose to move on and come into more complicated, if you will, inversions, just make sure you keep your gaze to the ceiling. Do not move your head from side to side because you're going to move into compromising states for the cervical spine. So we keep our lower back in the mat. We raise our legs up to begin with. If we want to move on, we're just going to rock the legs up and back over the head, and you can give a little push to your sit bones should you need to. Remember, I'm keeping my gaze to the ceiling. I've come here into my plow pose. I'm flexing my spine, but whether or not I know it or realize that, I'm also flexing all the way up into the neck. So that's why we're very careful to be very still from the shoulders up. Keep your gaze skyward. And you're just pressing your toes behind your head. Maybe they hit the floor, maybe they don't, it doesn't matter. You're in plow pose. You can dock your hands like a tripod to your pelvic bones and lift your legs up. So then you're on shoulder stand, you're on your shoulder blades. Again, excellent for circulation. You can do whatever you wish with your legs. You can scissor them, open them up, bend through knees, crisscross, whatever you wish with your legs, the lower portion of the body. The upper portion from the shoulders up should stay very still, very stable. Sarvangasana, shoulder stand. To come out is just like you came in. You're just going to ease back into plow and then lower down to up the wall. Now, from here, you can bend your knees and set your feet down, which most people can do. If you want to challenge your core, you're going to lower with your legs straight. That is very challenging. So you might want to start off with grabbing the edges of your mat or putting your arms behind your lower back to support it, because this does tax the back and the core. If it hurts, you're not benefiting. Remember that. Bring the arms above the head. Feel the stretch, especially in the abdomen, and reach out with the fingers and the toes for full body stretch. Wonderful. Gently swing the left arm out, lift the left leg up, try to reach it with your right hand if you can, and pull on the foot or the toe, but at the same time, push the foot skyward. That resistance is going to give a great stretch, not only the leg, but the arm. And then just gently guide that leg over. You can keep the leg straight or you can bend it. So bring that left leg over to the right into a twist. And back up. Now switch legs. So raise the right leg, swing the left arm, the right arm out, lift with the left arm, try to meet the foot. If you can't, just grab onto the calf, push the foot skyward, pull on the toe of the foot to create resistance, basically. Then release, bring that leg down and over. Feel that flex in the spine, feel that stretch in the upper portion of the arm on the right. And then come back. Bring your knees in, give them a hug. Rock back and forth a time or two. Nice little massage to your back. And then go ahead and set your feet down about hip width apart. Pull the heels up to your sit bones as close as you can to them. Push into the feet, lift the sit bones up, drive the navel down into the spine, and allow a nice line to occur from your knee to hip to shoulder. You're squeezing the gluteus, you're pushing into the foot. From the shoulders up is very stable. Again, your gaze is skyward because Setu Bandhasana, bridge pose, is an inversion. You are inverting blood flow.
So again, a great benefit, but you do have your shoulders and your head, your neck in a compromising position. So keep your gaze guided. You can challenge here by lifting your heels up. Anytime we take weight off, we're using that core a little more. And then ease back down. Pull the knees back in. One more hug, hopefully not your last hug today. Always remember a 20-second hug is very medicinal. Amazing how human touch can be very beneficial. And then we extend one leg out and then the other, and we find ourselves resting in Shavasana. We purposefully allow the body just to fall limp and into the position that it feels best in. There's no manipulating, no control at all. Just let it relax and release. Face, the body, the breath, the mind, opening up thoughts, just swaying in and out. Emotions, the heart, energy, all flowing through you. Breathe. Take your deep breath in and release that breath out. Notice how your body feels. Then allow movement to occur and always, always be appreciative to be able to lengthen and stretch, to make a fist, to wiggle toes, to turn a wrist. Bring in gratitude and appreciation and joy in everything you do. Over to one side on the body and push yourself up. Come to that seated position where we were when we started just a little while ago. And we always like to recognize that we are in the same mat and we are in the same place and we are in the same position, but we're not the same. This is another practice, probably one of the most important parts of the practice, is that we are changing every day, and that's okay. We learn to adapt to that change and to maybe even expect it, want it, and appreciate it, embrace it. Think of how more peaceful, more content life would be. So we've changed. We're grateful. Bring our hands to heart center. And maybe we'll set the intention for the day to try to be more present, to try to be more mindful, to try to understand a little better what's going on within us and what we are sending out to others and receiving from them. Jai Shri Sakadu Maharaj Ki means may the light of truth overcome all of darkness. To move from this space into light and be a part of that light and shine that light on others, because there are so many others today who are in darkness. Be that spark that makes that flame. Namaste. Thank you so much for being with me today. I never go to underappreciate your support. So in other words, I so appreciate you being here, especially on Friday mornings at 7 a.m. I know it's early,
But I love that you're here with me, even if it's through the internet waves. And remember, you can go to my YouTube channel. I'm starting to put more and more practices on there and trying to revamp that channel. So it's always there if you need it, if we're not streaming live. So you can go to Angie Vaughn Yoga and put that in and practice there. So hope you have a wonderful day. Namaste.